The investigation that has been ongoing revealed that Ms. Quintana intentionally gave her children alcohol and NyQuil and encouraged them to consume those substances before entering the water together.
For the first time, law enforcement is confirming what they believe happened on a mysterious Texas mansion nearly a month ago. This mom is now facing charges for allegedly giving her kids tequila and NyQuil so she could allegedly drown them. Why she reportedly did it is something that's now raising even more questions.
Plan A was to pack their belongings and to leave the residence. Plan B was only to be enacted if they could not leave the home.
Authorities in Texas just gave a major update in this case, and it's a story that even law enforcement described as bizarre and breathtaking on the day they responded to it. In this news conference, it did answer some questions, but in some ways it raised new questions as the mystery surrounding this family and especially the suspect's husband continues to linger. We're on the case presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. The district attorney in Liberty County, Texas, confirmed as much as she says she could about this bizarre mystery we've been following for nearly a month out of Liberty County, Texas, which is outside Houston. You might remember that this took place at this $4.5 million mansion on a massive property in rural Liberty County outside Houston. And this is the suspect in this case. Her name is Jessica Quintana. She's 39 years old, the mom to the 3 kids who are victims in this story, and she is being held on $3 million bond. She is facing charges of 2 counts of injury to a child causing bodily injury and 1 charge of assault causing bodily injury after this event that took place on September 29th. Now, before I get into what the DA says about the investigation and how they got to this point, let me remind you about how all of this began on September 29th.
You're going to have 4 kids hospitalized on NyQuil, multiple bottles on scene.
That was the radio chatter early that morning. Law enforcement rushed to this rural property with this massive mansion. Here's how they described what they saw inside the gates.
I would describe it as bizarre and breathtaking, seeing everything that we've been faced with today.
Deputies say that Jessica's husband, Domingo Quintana, was the one who called 911. This mugshot is unrelated, though, to the alleged drowning attempt, but it's connected to a misdemeanor animal cruelty charge that he is facing based off what law enforcement say they found on his property when they responded to the alleged drownings of his family members. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about what the DA said on whether he'll face charges related to those alleged attempted drownings in just a moment, but here's what the DA said about the investigation.
Deputies with the Liberty County Sheriff's Office responded and were dispatched based upon a 911 call that reported an attempted murder-suicide. When deputies arrived, they found Ms. Quintana unresponsive in a pond on the property, along with 3 of her children, ages 15, 11, and 6. The 11-year-old was found unresponsive, and 2 other children were conscious but clearly in distress. The investigation that has been ongoing revealed that Ms. Quintana intentionally gave her children alcohol and NyQuil and encouraged them to consume those substances before entering the water together. We know they consumed these substances based upon medical and toxicology records, as well as information gathered from witnesses. Deputies also recovered numerous empty NyQuil bottles, an empty tequila bottle, and other evidence that's consistent with those statements.
Jessica and her children were rushed to the hospital. She and her 11-year-old were actually airlifted to Houston. They were in critical condition. Jessica was just released from the hospital on Friday, and that is when she was taken into custody in Liberty County. Of course, any parent would ask, why would a mom try to allegedly drown her children and drown herself in a pond after allegedly drugging them with NyQuil and vodka? This is the part of the news conference that is raising a lot of new questions about this family.
According to the arrest affidavit, Ms. Quintana's teenage daughter told investigators her mother had 2 plans. Plan A was to pack their belongings and to leave the residence. Plan B was only to be enacted if they could not leave the home. There was a failed attempt by Miss Quintana and the children to leave the home the previous day on September 28th. Thereafter, on the morning and the early wee hours of the morning of September 29th, Miss Quintana carried out Plan B. She instructed the children to drink the mixture of alcohol and NyQuil until they felt fuzzy, and then they would roll into the water themselves, or she would roll them into the water once they were knocked out. Thankfully, things did not go as planned, and Plan B was not able to be carried out.
The district attorney was asked for more detail as to why Jessica's plan to leave the night before didn't work out and why she turned to her alleged Plan B, which was to kill her own children and to drown herself in the pond on the property. The DA said she couldn't answer that question. But she did make a comment about Domingo Quintana, Jessica's husband, the father of the 3 children, the 3 victims in this story. He's been a mysterious figure ever since this story began. He's the one who called 911. Deputies said he was cooperative on the day all of this allegedly happened. But soon after, he was facing a charge of misdemeanor animal cruelty. That was after law enforcement said they found alleged emaciated animals on his property. Now, of course, that is a serious situation, but at the same time, there have been questions about the timing of that kind of charge on a day where his wife allegedly tried to kill his children. For as traumatic an event as that is, why was he facing a misdemeanor on that day? I put Jessica Quintana's name into truthfinder.com. It's a good tool for us, helps us understand a little bit more about the people involved in our stories. We do see on her profile that she is linked to the home where these alleged attempted drownings took place. As far as a criminal history, and Truthfinder does a good job of showing whether someone has had any sort of interaction with law enforcement in the past, we don't see any prior criminal history related to Jessica Quintana. Here at Law&Crime, we partner with Truthfinder and we use it to get details on the people involved in our stories. But even if you don't work in true crime, it can be a great resource to give you some peace of mind because it's one of the largest public record search services in the United States. And with the paid subscription service, you get access to unlimited reports about almost anyone. And right now, you can get 50% off your first month of confidential background reports. Just go to truthfinder.com/OTC. Now, another mysterious part to Domingo Quintana has been his employment. Police said on the day all of this happened, when asked, what does he do for work? Remember, he owns this $4.5 million mansion. Police had said that he sold cars, but they couldn't confirm that.
I believe it was the dad that was helping get anybody that was in the water out of the water. Upon the deputies arriving, the kids were wet, the dad was wet, and the mother was still in the water. And the deputies are the ones, I believe, that got in and got the mother out of the water.
So right now, would you say you're focused on the mom as the suspect or perpetrator?
So right now, we don't have a specific focus on the mom or the dad. We're looking at both.
For as mysterious as Domingo Quintana is in this story, here's what the DA said on whether he will face charges related to the alleged attempted drownings of his children.
Further, based on the facts of this case and the information and evidence that's been uncovered as of today, the father of the children will not be charged with any crimes related to this murder-suicide plot.
Now, this is an image of Domingo Quintana entering court for a custody hearing. Now, another layer to this story has been the custody of the Quintana children. CPS testified at a hearing that when the children were asked about their father, they had a negative reaction to him, but they wanted to see their mom. And Jessica was allowed to see the children for an hour of supervised visitation when she was in the hospital. The district attorney would not go into more detail about the family during this news conference, but here's what we have been able to find out about them since this story first started. We know that this family has lived in that massive mansion that's titled the Rancho Monte Carmelo since 2017. They built the massive home on the property. At the same time, it appears the Quintanas are in some serious financial issues. This is a judgment from January of this year after Quintana was sued in 2023 in Harris County. That's where Houston is, in the category of debt, contract fraud, misrepresentation. We don't have the documents laying out the case against Quintana, but the court ruled in favor of the plaintiff. And according to the documents, Quintana was on the hook for more than $138,000. We also found an active case in Liberty County where Quintana is being accused of not paying taxes for years on a 72-acre property. The suit claims that he owes more than $43,000. Now, as for the mom, Jessica Quintana, she is listed as the owner of a property in Houston Houston, where she's accused of being more than $18,000 behind on taxes per the Harris County Tax Collector's website. It's unclear if any of these civil issues factor into what happened at this home on September 29th, and whether the financial pressure played an impact on what Jessica Quintana is now accused of doing. Now, there is another bizarre twist, and I know there are a lot of bizarre twists in this story, but it's about Domingo Quintana and who visited him in jail before he bonded out on that misdemeanor animal cruelty charge. Liberty Police Lieutenant Ramiro Lozano. Now, his agency was not investigating the case. That was the agency of the Liberty County Sheriff's Office and the Texas Rangers. So it's unclear at this point what the lieutenant talked to Domingo Quintana about behind bars. Also, here's Quintana being swarmed by media outside the jail, covering his face and refusing to answer questions as he left. Lozano, the police lieutenant, was reportedly the man driving the car as Quintana drove away. Lieutenant Lozano is currently on leave pending the outcome of an internal investigation.
Now, the duty of a mother is to protect her children, to love them, and to keep them safe. To keep them safe from harm, and that's the duty of every parent. When this sacred type of duty is violated, it strikes the heart of a community and demands accountability under the law. And it oftentimes leaves us asking why. Because this case involves minor children and it remains an active prosecution by our office, no additional details can be released at this time.
Now, even though this news conference did clear up a lot, it certainly paints a picture of what law enforcement believe happened that day, yet there's still a lot of questions about what was going on inside that mansion. The district attorney was asked about whether Domingo Quintana could be charged in relation to anything else beyond that animal cruelty misdemeanor that he's facing, and she said she could not comment on that. But here's more of what she told the media during that news conference today per KPRC TV in Houston.
Deputies with the Liberty County Sheriff's Office responded and were dispatched based upon a 911 call that reported an attempted murder-suicide. When deputies arrived, they found Ms. Quintana unresponsive in a pond on the property, along with 3 of her children, ages 15, 11, and 6. The 11-year-old was found unresponsive, and 2 other children were conscious but clearly in distress. The investigation that has been ongoing revealed that Ms. Quintana intentionally gave her children alcohol and NyQuil and encouraged them to consume those substances before entering the water together. We know they consumed these substances based upon medical and toxicology records, as well as information gathered from witnesses. Deputies also recovered numerous empty NyQuil bottles, an empty tequila bottle, and other evidence that's consistent with those statements. According to the arrest affidavit, Ms. Quintana's teenage daughter told investigators her mother had 2 plans. Plan A was to pack their belongings and to leave the residence. Plan B was only to be enacted if they could not leave the home. There was a failed attempt by Ms. Quintana and the children to leave the home the previous day on September 28th. Thereafter, on the morning and the early wee hours of the morning of September 29th, Ms. Quintana carried out Plan B. She instructed the children to drink the mixture of alcohol and NyQuil until they felt fuzzy, and then they would roll into the water themselves, or she would roll them into the water once they were knocked out. Thankfully, things did not go as planned, and Plan B was not able to be carried out. As a result of Plan B, all 3 children were transported to Memorial Hermann Hospital and the medical center. Ms. Quintana and 1 of the children were airlifted in critical condition. 2 of the other children were taken by ground ambulance to Memorial Hermann. Toxicology testing confirmed elevated levels of both alcohol and acetaminophen in the children's systems. Now, this case has been thoroughly investigated by the Liberty County Sheriff's Office along with the assistance of the Texas Rangers. Our office has reviewed the evidence carefully and is confident the facts fully support the charges that have been filed in this case. Our office has also been involved in this case since the beginning, as requested by the investigatory agencies. Over the past couple of weeks, there has been a great deal of speculation and misinformation surrounding this case. We're holding the press conference today to dispel those rumors and to provide the public with accurate, verified information. Every decision in this case has been guided solely by the evidence, not by rumor, speculation, or social media commentary. One specific point of misinformation that has been circulating are claims that a Liberty County Sheriff's Office employee was connected to this case. I want to be clear, Ramiro Lozano, referenced in media coverage in the last couple of weeks, is employed by is employed by another law enforcement agency in Liberty County. He was not employed by the Liberty County Sheriff's Office at this time, and he was not associated with this investigation in any manner. Further, based on the facts of this case and the information and evidence that's been uncovered, as of today, the father of the children will not be charged with any crimes related to this murder-suicide plot. Now, the duty of a mother is to protect her children, to love them, and to keep them safe from harm, and that's the duty of every parent. When this sacred type of duty is violated, it strikes the heart of a community and demands accountability under the law, and it oftentimes leaves us asking why. Because this case involves minor children and it remains an active prosecution by our office, no additional details can be released at this time. And lastly, I want to extend my sincere appreciation to the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, the Texas Rangers, the medical professionals at Memorial Hermann, and Child Protective Services. They've all worked tirelessly and compassionately in this case. Our office remains steadfast in our commitment to seek justice for these 3 children and to ensure that truth is fully and accurately presented in court. Now, I'm going to entertain a couple of questions. We can do this in an orderly fashion. If it's something I can answer, I'll be happy to do so. If it's not, I'll absolutely let you know.
Is there any indication of why these plans were concocted? Was there any evidence of domestic violence?
There has not been at this point in time. I can't really comment on that, actually.
Is there an update on Officer?
That involves policy violations, potential policy violations at the agency where he was, and our office has we don't investigate that, nor are we involved in those types of things.
Are you investigating the father, not for this incident, but are there possibly other charges pending related to domestic abuse?
I can't comment on that.
So would you say, though, that the plan A was trying to escape allegedly?
I would say that plan A was to leave.
And could you tell us what plans you made and how that failed?
I can't comment on that.
Was it summer?
Thank you. Blue Bonnet News.
Return to their father?
I can't comment on that either. That's a CPS matter and relegated to the CPS court.
How was he cooperating with you?
Pardon?
How was he cooperating with you? Or
I can't comment on that either. I'm sorry.
So what's next again? He has a $1 million bond on each case, going to court, and what's next step?
Charging documents were filed this morning by our office. And so at some point, as soon as the court puts it on a docket, then she will be appearing in whatever court that it falls into. I'm not aware of the court that it's been assigned to at this point. And the matters will at some point be presented to a grand jury.
Was he responsible for abuse that was going on?
I can't comment on that.
I mean, I guess you said that there's been a lot of speculation out there on social media. I mean, people who know the family, who've been involved with the father, have steadfastly said that they felt like he was driven to it, and whatever happened, that he played a role in causing the situation. I know you don't want to comment on whether or not he has any.
It's not a matter of me not wanting to comment. It's that I'm prohibited due to my oath from commenting on that. So I cannot do that. If there are any other questions, yes, Blue Bonnet News.
There's speculation that the father was tied to the cartel. Is that just rumors, or are you speaking to that?
I can't comment. I've not seen anything that would substantiate that. Is there anything else?
Is there anybody here who can comment on Lozano with Liberty, City of Liberty Police Department, which we have actively?
There's not anyone from that department, so they would be the only one that would be able to comment on that. No, I've got an investigator from my office, a prosecutor, and 2 individuals from the sheriff's office. All right, if that's all the questions, thank you for being here today.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.